This is Christy Williams, and I am interviewing today Kellie Peterson. Kellie is the Vice President at Idaho Independent Bank in Hayden. She has been there for 12 years. She's the top producing commercial lender and supervises 13 employees at this point. So I'm going to ask Kellie a few questions about her leadership style, what her thoughts are, how she sees herself, and we'll get started. Kellie, thanks for doing this interview with me. So the first question is, what type of selection process do you use when hiring new employees?
Usually there is at least another interviewer in the room with us when we do interview somebody. And we like to just have open interview questions, no yes or no answers. A lot of times we ask a simple open-ended question and see how the person who we're interviewing explains themselves, how they communicate, their type of personality, whether they seem to be outgoing.
So what would you look for in potential new employees? Is communication the most important, or what are your goals in finding new employees?
The primary people that we are interviewing for is a teller position. With the teller position, we are definitely needing people that can interact with customers. So people that have, not strong personality traits, but can look at customers in the eyes, and carry on a conversation with the customers that are standing in front of them.
Perfect. So I should have asked this the first question, but tell me kind of a little bit how you got to the position you're in. You told me that there's a management training program that you had to go to, and tell me how it led up to you being the vice president of your bank.
So I was hired with no banking experience for this program, and what the program is it's a management training program. It's about a year long, and you learn all the areas of the bank. So you start being a teller, then you work in the back offices, and you work through every single area department of the bank and just learn how things work. After that, I was hired on at the Hayden branch, where I was a consumer lender and worked under my manager kind of as a mentor for my management position that I'm in now as well, and which then led up to the commercial lending and now manager as well.
So before you were manager, before you were vice president, did you picture what it would be like as a manager? Is it what you thought in reality, what it's really like? Is it harder? Is it easier?
I went through the management program. I've always every job I've ever had I've always been in a leadership position. But I never really, to answer your question, yes, it is what I thought. It's difficult at times, but it's also easy and fun at times.
That works. That's a great answer. Okay, so that leads into your leadership style. So do you feel like you want to be friends with your employees, or what's the best way to lead to get them to kind of buy into your style and produce?
Well, with myself, I'm probably a little different. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat as me, but in our bank, I'm one of the younger managers, and so a lot of my employees are significantly older than me, so in order to get them to buy into my management style, I guess, it's more of a teamwork approach where I need everyone's help in order to succeed. So
in one of the books we're reading for the class I take, we talk about, or we read about servant leadership, where you put your employees before yourself, kind of with the thoughts that if you do that and they succeed and they produce and they buy into what you're doing, you in the end are going to succeed. Do you feel like you've kind of had to take that approach with being younger?
Absolutely. I'm constantly having, yeah.
Okay. I like it. So how do you measure your success as a leader? I know this is kind of a hard question to answer, but is it by volume, what you produce, the money the bank's making, or how long employees are staying with you?
Mine is definitely employee retention.
Okay.
The longer that we are able to keep our employees there, the more valuable they are to the bank, the more us lenders we're able to rely on, our assistants or the tellers or whoever it might be, the personal bankers. They're able to take on more duties and we're able to produce more. So in the end, yes, absolutely. I would be able to produce more. Our lenders will be able to produce more. But ultimately, it's employee retention.
Okay. So with that, the last question I have for you is, for somebody that wants to be a leader, you can go answer like a leader in the bank, whatever. What advice would you give them? What should they know, or what's just good advice?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I have for anyone that wants to be a leader is to listen. The biggest thing that I've found in management is you have to be able to listen to your employees, you have to be able to listen to your customers, and you have to really understand what their issue is at hand. Whether if they have a complaint, you need to be able to really listen and understand the problem or complaint that they have.
Okay, Kelly, that was great. Thank you very much. And Kelly's on maternity leave right now from her bank, and she was nice enough to let me come out and interview her. And one of the bases for my interview is that she's female, she's young, and she's in a upper leadership position in this bank that I find is pretty impressive. So Kelly, thank you again, and
you're welcome.
That's it. Okay, so I have some insights on why I picked Kellie Peterson for my interview. First off, about 8 years ago, she completed mine and my husband's first home loan for the first house we purchased together. And she was young. I thought she was about my same age, and she seemed so professional. She had everything put together so well. She'd get back to us immediately. She seemed very respected, and it was pretty impressive to me. So over the years, I've went back to her for car loans, and now she just does commercial lending, so I haven't had a chance to work with her in quite a while. So I called her bank and asked for her, and they let me know she was out on leave, but that I could email her. And I emailed asking about an interview possibly, and she got back to me within literally 10 minutes and said she'd love to have me interview her, when would work, I could just come to her house, which I had to laugh about. She was super accommodating, and before I even did the interview, I realized that that's probably why she's a leader. She's always there to help people. She's just a great person, easy to talk to. So then I completed the interview. I talked to her for quite a while, and my main takeaways, my main insights after this interview is that, and like she said in the interview, just listening to people, paying attention. If you want to aspire to leadership, you have to be respectful towards others. and before the interview and after, she just kept reiterating the listening part. Listen to what other people have to say, take their advice, and just be humble about the whole process. And she's, at some point, will be the president of this Hayden branch bank, which is pretty impressive because she's a female, she's young, she does have a college degree, but I still find it pretty cool. So other insights I can take away from this interview are that she's just taken this leadership in stride. She realizes that a lot of the people that are employees that she's responsible for are older than her, and she takes that into account every day and realizes that if you just order these people to do certain tasks, it's not going to come off very well. And so she has a different style. She uses teamwork, more of a servant leadership process. And she did mention that she's probably one of the lowest paid in management position in the state. And she realizes because she's young, she's got a long ways to go, and she respects that process, and she still continues to work hard. So it was a fun interview, and she's such a nice person. And I guess I was just pretty impressed with the work she does, and even more so now that she was so accommodating, even on her maternity leave. So it was a pretty cool interview. Thanks, guys.